towards the center of the auditorium.
Federation, Shamihi Federation, sign of the buffalo. Would you like to hear a story tonight? Would you like to hear a story tonight? Then listen very carefully. A long, long time ago in the Shamihi Federation, there were 7 great tribes of 2 mighty nations, the Zuni and the Iroquois. These were fierce warriors, commanding fear and respect. They were proud and strong, afraid of nothing, except... Oh, we have to talk about the spirit log later. These were fierce warriors. When the moon looked exactly as it does tonight, they would arm themselves with weapons and prepare for a fight. For they knew that this night the wild goose would take flight. Legend says its cry would make your blood run cold and was the size of a herd when its wings would unfold. Now the Zuni and the Iroquois kids had never seen this bird and begged their parents to see a goose the size of a herd. No, said their parents, you are too small and too weak. When it comes, if it sees you, it'll gobble you up with its beak. So run along. Go and play. You're too small to help. Stay out of the way. Well, this didn't sit well with the kids at all. To be told they were weak? To be told they were small? But they were warriors to be when they became grown. So the kids set off on their own. They vowed not to return to the village without a wild goose feather or a wild goose hide. Then they'll know we are warriors, they cried.
Bless you.
10 warriors, armed only with pride. 5 girls and 5 boys who would not be denied. A test of their courage, a test of their strength. To settle their mettle, they'd search the earth's length. Legend said the goose bed lay right here on top of Leo Korea Beach, where the pointiest peak scraped the sky. Follow the moon, only at night, the legend continued. It will lead us to where the wild goose takes flight. The kids braved bats. Bears.
No poking.
And boulders. On their wild goose quest. Refusing snacking or snoozing till they tracked the thing to its nest. But upon the 10th morning, the children stopped. For up there, scraping the air, was the pointiest peak, with a nest sitting on top. While weak from their hunger and worn from their climb, some of the younger ones had started to whine. But, upon seeing its lair, their strength came back, and with sticks and stones they rushed into attack. Now this nest was not made of twigs, but of trees. But these kids were determined, and climbed up like monkeys. Once, clearing the rim of the nest, they dropped into the pit, and with their armed with their weapons, searched for something to hit. What they thought they'd find was the goose on the ground, but instead they saw something small, oval, and round. It was an egg, a wild goose egg. What a shock! And as the children watched, the egg began to rot. Okay, so maybe the egg wasn't really that small. It probably weighed 300 pounds and stood 6 feet tall. It rocked, and it rolled, and it began to crack. While the stunned children stared, they forgot their attack. The kids dropped their stones and the kids dropped their sticks while they witnessed the birth of the wild goose chick. Staring at the egg with mouths open wide, as the shell was pecked to pieces by what was inside. After much pecking, the egg cracked in half, revealing a bird much larger than an elephant's calf. As it stood amidst the pieces of its broken shell, the giant babe took its first step and fell. So afraid was the chick that it let out a squawk. For it was helpless and scared as it lay there in shock. The kids rushed forward to help the wild goose tot. As for their plans of war and destruction, they forgot. They stroked its feathers and soothed its cries. And when they saw that it was safe, its cries turned to sighs. Now, the kids were so busy petting the fowl, they didn't notice or hear the distant wolf howl. You see, the chick's first cry was heard by a wolf pack, who thought a 300-pound bird would be one heck of a snack. Not to worry, the pack wasn't huge. There were only about 20, and when they saw the kids and the chick, they knew there'd be plenty. Howling with glee, there were forwards to their feast, as the kids turned to face 20 snarling, snapping beasts. Now, normal children would have ran and hid, but there's nothing normal about warrior kids. The children spread out and circled the chick, and facing the wolves, picked up their stones and sticks as they battled the wolves. With all of their might, fighting for the day. Even though they were small in size, they held those wolves off from the 300-pound prize. But after hours of fighting, the children grew weak. Remember, they'd gone days without rest or something to eat. Inch by inch, the kids' circle contracted, and each time a snout would appear, it took all of their might to whack it. But just when it seemed the wolves would win, a honk was heard from above, and the wild goose swooped in. With one look at the goose, the wolves scattered like leaves, and yelping they fled the nest made of trees. Then the goose looked at the kids, and the kids looked at it. Then they looked at their sticks, which were broken from all the wolves they'd hit. Shaking and quaking, they set their sticks on the ground and waited to be gobbled by the mountain of down. The giant beak dove down and snatched a kid from its nest. But instead of having a snap, placed her gently on its back to rest. Then one by one, it scooped up the kids up, and last but not least, it grabbed its own pup. And so, the children got a wild goose ride amongst wild goose feathers on a wild goose hide. The The bird soared up high and dove way down low. Where was it going? The kids didn't know. Nor did they care as they flew through the air. What they did know was joy as the wind whipped their hair. In the beginning, they thought to prove they were tough, to prove they were warriors, and had not thought that enough. On the bird's back road, 5 girls and 5 boys, to whom the ride played second, only next to their joy. Up above Leo Korea Beach, the children learned something, leaving them different once they returned. They found in the tussle their strength had increased, but they used a new muscle while protecting the geese. While fighting the wolves way up high in the nest, their might came from a place deep inside their chest. They discovered a thing their parents didn't even know, that caring, not snaring, they were feeding their souls. Then at long last, the ride came to an end as they zoomed toward the village on their fine feathered friend. A herd-sized bird is a hard thing to miss when it's up in the air. And soon the war cry went up from the village. The goose is loose! Everybody get down! But soon it was clear this was no foul attack, for seen laughing and waving were kids on its back. Sweeping up a great gust of wind, the wild goose touched down. As the people watched stunned, it set their kids on the ground. The chick made a racket to be put down as well. What did it want? No one could tell. But once down on the ground, it nuzzled each child, and some say as it watched, the wild goose smiled. Then the goose reached down and did something odd. Reaching into its feathers, it pulled out a wad. Then the chick did the same, giving one to each child. It was a gesture of friendship from the geese that are wild. Then the goose scooped up its babe and spread its great wings. And flapping up a storm, it did the bird thing. Then it honked goodbye. And it flew away south. And some were left wondering how it had smiled with a beak for a mouth. But the rest were in awe by what they'd just seen. You can accomplish more with kindness than by being mean. And so the children got their feather in the end, but not from an enemy. It came from a friend. As the legend continues and our fires burn blue, it signals the wild goose is coming, and we have something to do. So follow me, children, and don't drag your feet. Let's go find the wild goose, and hopefully she'll give us a big giant treat. Come forth, lily pad and toothless tadpole. Come forth, nation chief. Come forth, Shimihi Federation. We now go into the darkness of Leo Korea to hunt the wild goose. Is everyone here brave? Is everyone here strong? Is anyone afraid? Then let's go forth. Follow us.